Our presenter tonight is Diane Pontoriero, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Diane on a personal level as a colleague and a friend for a very long time at this point. She is also a very talented artist in many, many different media. She started being creative as a landscape architect in her first life, and then went on to become an elementary school art teacher for the rest of her career, and she now become invaluable to our camp program as a result of that. So she can basically make anything out of anything. And, and one of her many talents is Pysanka egg decorating, and she's going to demonstrate that tonight. So welcome, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you. I do have some here that I have made over the years. You're welcome.
Can we pass them around maybe?
No. they are real raw eggs, so yeah, I don't want anyone to like it.
Diane, can you pull them back towards you a little bit so Marianne's online so she can see the lovely basket of eggs?
No, wait,
Right.
it's not gonna...
Go to that one.
Oh, that camera.
Cameras.
There's something in here.
There's something.
Says, the host has spotlighted your video for everyone. Would you like to unmute your microphone to speak?
Just, no, you don't want to.
Because that's what's in the screen. Right
Here,
now.
why don't you go
There
ahead
we
and
go.
go ahead. I should have I've gotten rid of it now for you.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
You can ignore that.
She can ignore it, but then she
Okay.
can't see herself in it.
That's
I don't make you feel less self-conscious.
Okay, but they're here. Some, I blow them now, but traditionally they were not blown, so I do have a few that I've done years ago that have the dried out yolk in them. But those are here. So you can look at them later, but we don't want to pass them around. And basically just a brief history of Ukrainian egg writing. That's what Pysanka means, is egg writing. And it has, we figure it's been done in that area of Europe, Eastern Europe, for like centuries. And it first started as a means to bring forth spring. So the Ukrainian, or that sometimes it's not really Ukrainian, but it was, I think, Slav at one point was the name, or I've heard the RUS as that group of people, the Rus, whatever they were,
yeah.
like from the Vikings and stuff. And the Ukraine is the breadbasket of that region, so that it's a lot of farming, and obviously eggs were important. They constituted life, they meant life. So this time of the year before spring, it's dark, they're running out of food, people are getting sick. They needed some way to make sure that everybody was going to hang in there. They didn't even know if spring was coming because they didn't understand science and all that kind of stuff. So they would take the eggs and decorate them as a means to bring forth spring, to bring good luck. They would plant them, not plant them, but they would actually put them in the soil so that they would have a good harvest. They would put them in the bedding with the animals to keep the animals healthy, so the cows would still give milk and etc. They weren't meant to be kept. They were like a good luck type thing. If somebody was sick, they would make a special egg, take it to that family so that they would get well. And I can attest to that because my grandmother was super, like, superstitious. And then what happened was, as Christianity came into that region, a lot of the symbolism on the egg changed from signs of spring, stars, flowers, a lot of animals, which would denote prosperity and stuff like that, to symbols of the church and Lent. So, like fish, which used to be food, was now Christ, okay, and things like that. Now, the egg itself is very important. Not only did it constitute life, but it also is a symbol of the earth. So the egg yolk is the core, the white part is the mantle, and the shell is the crust. So it's like a little miniature earth that we're going to be decorating. Okay. And then what we decorate with are these little jars here. These are kishkas. I'll pass these around. Real scientific tool. It's a little stick with a copper funnel and copper wrapped around it. Or you can get the modern version, which is a plastic handle with a little brass funnel, okay? Or if you want to be really high tech, like I usually use, I have an electric version that has just a little tiny funnel thing that you put the wax in. And I can actually interchange this with different size little nibs to make different size lines. And these come in different, like they're color coded based on how big the opening is for you to write with. We use beeswax because it melts and doesn't catch on fire like the regular candle wax. Usually you get it in a block like this, and this works fine with the candle kishkas because as you hold them against the flame, it will turn the wax black. They make these spaghetti wax for the electric kishka, and they somehow tint them black so that you can see the wax on the egg because the electric one does not turn the wax black because there's no carbon involved from the flame. But I like to use them because they're easier to get the little tiny piece of wax off, because all you need is like this much to put in your funnel. Because if you put too much, then it drips around the outside and then you get a big flop on your egg. And that's one of Mary's tears as she cried at the cross. So, because once you get wax on the egg, you pretty much, you can't get it off. It's there and you're gonna have that spot. So, the beeswax is also important in that it also kind of denotes that same circle of life and needing the sun for warmth and for life. The bees make the beeswax, they go out, they collect the honey, they come back to the hive. They use the sun helps the flowers grow, and everything is all kind of interconnected in nature, and again, that's very important to us as we're making our eggs. So as my egg is in the dyes, I'll talk a little bit about some of the symbolism and colors and stuff like that. I did draw a simple design on my egg, and I decided to do sunflowers today because that is the symbol of Ukraine. So, and I actually should have brought I have one that I did do sunflowers on. But usually we divide the egg kind of this way around, and then we'll divide it the other way. And then sometimes, depending on the design, we'll divide it in half this way. But I'm making two like bands with my sunflowers going through each 4 sections and then on the ends. Okay. If you ever have a question, and just, you know.
So you're starting off with a hollow egg side?
No, this is a raw one.
A raw egg?
Yeah.
But did you blow it out?
No, it's not blown out. When I do workshops though, I do blow them out for the people in the workshop so that they're not taking home a raw egg. It's just safer that way to have it blown out.
But do you blow them out after?
I do now.
Do you? Okay.
Because I've had them blow up on me years after I made them, and that's not very fun. Yeah, it's pretty smelly.
Yeah.
Nasty.
How do you do that? You just poke a tiny hole in it?
Yeah, I have a, no, I don't have it. They sell different egg blowing devices, and the one I have is kind of like, it kind of curves down like, sort of like a bent S, and there's like one hole in the bottom, and the little blower goes in there, and then I just blow, and it just blows all the stuff out the bottom. So it only has one hole in it, which is nice. So you don't have to have 2.
Have you ever done any other size eggs?
Duck. Actually, I think this might be a duck egg. have never known anyone that had geese that I could get geese eggs. I know you can do ostrich, but you'd have to get really big jars of dye.
A friend of mine's mother brought one back from the Ukraine. She sells Ukrainian eggs too, as part of it. And I just saw it the other day. It was this large. I've never, it absolutely meticulous in design. I can't even imagine how much.
Whose egg was it?
I'm sorry?
Whose egg was it?
Who's
I mean, what
that?
animal?
Her mother who was Ukrainian brought it.
But what animal did it come out of?
Oh, I guess it had to be some
Ostrich.
ostrich. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. It
Yeah.
was this large.
Dinosaur.
And
Yeah.
and she was
Wow.
at noon. I mean, it just absolutely was phenomenal.
And again, you have to be careful though, because someone gave me an ostrich egg to do, and I didn't do it fast enough, and it exploded.
Oh.
So you are right.
A lot more stuff came out of that
Yes.
than my little egg.
Yes.
The wax melts that fast?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna have to hold it.
No, it'll catch on fire if you, which the kids when I used to teach at school would hold it and then it would catch on fire. And, yeah, they thought it was funny. But, yeah, so what I'm doing here now, this is basically a batiking process. So you're applying wax to an area that you want it to stay that color, and then you go into your dyes. And there's a specific order that you kind of have to follow in the dyeing process, so you don't, number one, contaminate the dyes. So every place that I'm putting dye on right now is going to stay this pale blue color.
So does the wax dry as soon as it hits the eggshell?
Yep.
Does.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like I said, you can't, like, if it drips, you pretty much have to leave it there, because even if you try to scratch it off, there's still a layer of wax, like on the shell. And then you just have to kind of deal with it as part of your design. So I'm just making bands. Any band that goes around the egg and forms like a completed circle is a line of everlasting life.
Do different colors mean different things?
Uh-huh.
Of course.
Yeah. So these will all be white.
So you start with a white egg, you're putting wax down so everything under that wax is white.
Mm-hmm. You can pass this around. This is like a sample when I do a class, I workshops all the time, so I have hundreds of those. That's a very traditional design. It's either got the flower pattern on one side and then I show them a star pattern on the other side. So again, the star, meaning it could either be the star of the sun, the universe, or it could be like the Christmas star, the star for Christ, or the flower of spring and stuff like that. So. I'm just going, basically what you do is once you draw, I like to outline everything that I've drawn with the wax so that your pencil lines are now white lines that kind of help to separate the different dye colors, which is always nice. So I'm just getting my sunflower patterns going here. This is more of a traditional pattern, not so much church related with the sunflowers. And then my first color that I will go into will be yellow.
So you always do some water colors?
There's some little like tricks you can do, of course, but I'm just going to do the traditional.
Is it a light to dark thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So white stands for purity, or the fact that that Christ and Mary were born without sin. Basically the same, you know, meaning of white and a lot of other colors. A lot of bumps on the shell. Down at the bottom.
Do you use any special type of egg?
This egg came from my favorite farmer's market. So it actually, I may not blow this one, because it does have a nice hard shell. Although usually I just go and get them at the grocery store if I'm doing workshops, because I've blown like 10 dozen eggs so far in the last month.
Amy?
Do you ever sand a shell, like before you start working on it, if it's, no?
No, I do rinse them in a vinegar water solution just to clean oil and dirt off of them.
Thank you.
I think that would probably ruin the shell. It may not take the dye if you sand it in. Okay, so I kind of got some of the sunflower patterns going here. So really the only benefit of the electric kishka is that you don't have a candle. You still have to put little tiny bits of wax in it. You can't like have like a steady stream of wax going.
It's not like a glue gun.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, a glue gun.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get faster here.
So you already have it all designed in your head and you know like what's going on next?
Sometimes I'll just kind of start with an idea and then fill colors in or fill patterns in as I go.
Is your family Ukraine?
On my mom's side, they came from the Ukraine. And then on my dad's side, they came from Slovakia, but we are kind of finding that they were very close to each other right on the border of the Ukraine and Slovakia.
I think you're my family member.
Hey!
Yeah, the exact same background.
Yeah. Did you make kurka at Easter?
No, I don't know what that is.
No. And banyik? I found very few people that make banyik.
No,
It's
we
a type
just
of
do the
cheese.
halupki, halushki, you know, like all of those, but all the skis.
Yeah. And futchki and sauerkraut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
What's that?
It's little ball, like for pieces of bread that you bake and you saute it with sauerkraut.
Bread and sauerkraut.
Mm-hmm.
Is the cheese you were talking about like the egg cheese, the yayachka, that kind of?
That's we call it horika at
Okay.
Easter. It's like you cook eggs down into like scrambled eggs and you
Yeah.
hang them in a ball. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And it's this big round hunk of egg. And you cut it up. You bake it and you cut it up. No, it's egg.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah,
It looks like cheese.
it looks like cheese.
You hang it in cheesecloth.
But what does that do? Why don't you just eat the egg?
Well, then you bake it to get it dry, and it has a crust on it, and then you slice it.
So it's fine.
Well, no, it's kind of like soft cheese.
Yeah. That's why I said it's egg cheese. It's egg cheese.
Yeah,
Put in the shape of an egg.
No, it's a
A
ball.
ball.
it's a ball.
Oh, circle ball.
I got the
Yeah.
ball part.
Okay.
So it's made out of egg, but it ends up being like cheese.
Do you put anything on it?
No, it's just egg.
Ketchup?
Ketchup, you could, yeah. I think we should Google it. Struggling.
Yeah, you're struggling.
All right. It's one
I'll
of those.
just have to bring you some here.
You made the
Easter.
substance.
Yeah.
Oh.
Except my in-laws were always afraid to eat it because it had too many eggs. They were afraid of the cholesterol. I'm like, whatever.
It's one of those once a year kind of dishes,
Yeah.
like, you know, for the holidays.
Yeah.
Vodka.
So it's not a custard.
No. Okay. So on my little borders, I added little zigzag lines, little going, you know, up and down lines. Those are wolves' teeth, and they're for protection.
Okay.
evil spirits.
This is sounding kind of pagan now.
Well, yes, a lot of it originally was,
Okay.
until Christianity came.
Okay.
So a lot of the symbolism, you'll find both in there, okay? And there are some lines that are, they call them meandering lines. Now this won't have that in it. I don't know if I have any that have wandering lines. Sometimes they call them gypsy lines, and they're to confuse the evil spirits so that they stay away.
Is this where they have slivovitz also? The plum brandy, or is that one of the other surrounding countries?
Oh, I don't know that one.
I'm just wondering with all these really interesting stories and symbolism, if they also have a lot of that going.
So what do you do with Brandy?
What do you do with it?
You pour it over.
That's why you were making things.
Okay, so I'm about ready to go into my first color here, so I'm gonna go into my yellow. Hope if I can get these other little wolf's teeth made. And then I could show you some of the other symbolism.
It's already pretty, look at it.
It amazes me how you get everything symmetrical,
Yeah, exactly, I can't.
especially when you can't make a mistake.
No,
And you come around to the other side.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like how do you
right.
get the spacing between the flowers?
and when you are drawing on the egg, you can't erase because it'll ruin the eggshell.
So you, even with the pencil you
Right, you
can
can't erase. Because it like makes this like.
This doesn't sound like my thing.
Yeah. There will be mistakes.
Okay. So I'll put it in the yellow dye.
Now, is that a regular Easter egg dye?
No, it is an acid, it's an acid-based dye, a vinegar dye. Very similar to what you would use to dye silk or wool.
Oh.
Okay, so it's like a dye for protein fabrics. It won't work on cotton, that's a plant-based. So it's for like animals, like egg, wool, like, or silk, or feathers, anything like that you could use these dyes on. Okay, and they're powder and you mix them with hot water and vinegar. And they're permanent and they're not food safe. But yeah, they have a whole bunch of different colors. That's pretty much.
So you just look up protein dyes, is that?
Or acid, usually they're called acid dyes. And then to dye cotton, you would get a fiber reactive type dye, like the Procian that I use for tie dyeing that you mix with the soda ash.
Okay.
How long do the dyes last once you've mixed them?
Oh, years.
In the liquid form?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll usually just throw a little vinegar in each year.
Mm.
Eventually I mix new ones after a few years.
Wow.
Do you have to do yellow first, or is that just how you do
If
it?
you want yellow on your egg, yes.
So you go from light to dark?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I didn't have any yellow on my egg, I could go to another color, okay? And usually when I'm making them at home, I'll have like a whole dozen that I'm doing all at one time, and I'll just leave one in yellow, and then I'll go and start putting wax on another one, and then either take that one out of yellow, or maybe I'll put it in another color, so I'll have a whole bunch of the dyes, and I'll be, like kind of a,
Assembly line.
yeah,
Right.
because there are some, it'll take, like say something like this, it could take me like 8, 10, maybe 12 hours just to do the light parts of that little design,
Oh my gosh.
Huh.
You're not dyeing very yellow, are you? That's okay. Oh, I can leave you in there while we're, no, I can tell you about it.
Oh, jello.
Yeah, now it is a pale blue egg, so that may have something to do with it. I don't know if I have any here. I do have some brown eggs that I did. And they give you a little bit different color. This one still seems pretty white. And then I did grab a brown one.
So the lines would be brown instead of white?
Like, say if this one, like, this would be like that, like brownish color of the egg, yeah. So, like an egg like this is divided into 40 triangles for the 40 days of Lent. Okay. Because it's like an oval and you're trying to divide it into all these little triangles and it just like gets confusing.
Do you just wing that, or do you have to do math?
Yeah, there's just ways of dividing it and then redividing it and redividing it.
You only have to figure it
A
out.
little of both, yeah, seems like.
Yeah.
Obviously, this one's the fish, which would be Christ being the fisher of men. See if there's, sometimes you can have a ladder. Oh, here's the nets. The nets are obviously, again, for the apostles, and you know how Christ went and got the apostles that were fishing. So you'll see the little nets.
That one looks really complicated.
The little stacked shape, that's a church. That's the symbol for like the little churches. And I don't know if I have a ladder. The ladder is to go to heaven. And it's basically a ladder. You know, like it would have two lines of little, like, yeah, it's a little ladder going around. Wolves' teeth. I like wolves' teeth. Again, dots like these are Mary's tears, but then sometimes you get your own little Mary's tears.
Diane, could you put that basket a little closer to like the middle of the table? Like, yeah.
Okay.
A little, yeah, that way. Perfect.
I'm trying to see if there's, oh, here's meandering lines. And here's some of the wiggly ones. Let's try it out too. But this has the little wiggly lines, the little gypsy lines to confuse the evil spirits. You laugh, but my grandmother thought the world was flat, and she came from the Ukraine to the United States. So,
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Okay.
Are you still working?
Okay, let's see what that is.
Kelly.
Yeah.
That's Kelly.
Where are you?
Okay, I've now muted Kelly.
okay. So yellow, obviously, is for light in the sun. And let's see, here's a meaning for,
Can we move the basket while she's working?
Yes, yeah. You can slide it back over so you can see.
oh, you can-
But then that just
You can't
means.
see.
We can see.
Yes,
Can you
that's
see, or should I put it on the floor?
I'm good.
Can you see?
Okay, so now I'm going to put wax where I want it to stay yellow. I'm gonna do all my little petals.
So you have to fill it all in?
Yep.
It's just like doing fabric batiking.
Yes.
I did that once.
Okay. Not a patient person, are you?
I did my ice cream, okay?
My brother does that.
So is this where you would use a fatter?
This is the fattest one right here. I've been using the whole time.
I'd be like with a hose.
And the plastic ones, the holes are even smaller. So this one with the red on the tip is the biggest hole that you have. And they all go smaller after that. So you can get very thin, intricate lines.
I may be jumping ahead here, but how do you get the wax off?
You melt it with the candle.
Yeah, you can get
Whole
That's
leg?
the fun part.
Yeah.
Whole leg?
it.
Yeah.
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 All over and then you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's all is revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Right, hold the egg over the candle?
Yeah.
Beside it,
Yeah. Yeah, just a
Not-
little
not-
wax and
Yeah,
wipe
just
it
to
off.
heat it and then
But you have to
just
keep
like-
moving it.
Yeah.
So you don't
Yeah, when you
boil
wipe, you
it.
know, you
You
wipe.
talking like oven mitts or what?
No, it doesn't get hot.
No, it's just mom cooking
Yeah.
fingers, you know?
Have-
Flipping the bacon with your fingers, you know?
Now, supposedly, you can put a whole bunch in an oven and let the wax like slowly heat up and then I guess grab them and wipe them, but I've never tried that. I just like the candle method myself.
They're kind of shiny, is that the wax?
No, they're varnished to preserve them
Oh.
because the dye is a water-based dye, so if they were to get wet or whatever, the dye would, can come off. You could wash the dye off the eggs. So,
After all their work.
Spray.
Paint 'em.
yeah, the ones for class, like the workshops, I have the spray, the fast-drying polyurethane. The ones at home, I'll just put it in my hand and rub with the polyurethane, get a nice coat. And then I have little drying racks with little nails, 3 of the nails that they sit on, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have to use polyurethane because like the acrylic water-based varnishes will take the dye off.
Ooh.
Do you sell these at your church, the Ukrainian church, or?
No, because I go to a Catholic church now. I was,
You said you made 10 dozen of them in the last couple of months, I'm thinking, what
oh, I
do you do?
have three workshops at the art center with 10 to 13 people.
Wow.
Workshop and they make 2 to 3 eggs each, so I had to blow a lot of eggs.
I see.
Yeah. My parents were Ukrainian or Greek Catholic, which is different than the Orthodox, Greek Orthodox. We were under the Pope, but our masses and stuff were kind of a combination of the Catholic Mass and the Orthodox Mass. But then when we moved to the town that I grew up in, there wasn't a Ukrainian Catholic church there, so they just went to the regular Roman Catholic church. But I was baptized and confirmed when I was born.
Confirmed.
Yeah, the whole shebang, so I didn't have to do all that stuff. All the other kids did later on.
Now, do you have relatives in Ukraine?
That I don't know, because when my grandparents came over in like around 1900, they didn't really say anything about the past, at least, you know, to us kids, you know, and my mom and, you know, all my aunts and everybody, they've all since passed away, so we weren't able to get all that information like we do nowadays, so unfortunately. All right, almost ready. My next color could be green, but I'm not gonna do any green leaves. I could. That would be the next color I would go into though. And then after that would be orange. And orange is a special dye because it's the only one that will remove the green color off the eggs and not mix. So if I went from green to red dye, I would get brown, right? Green, red, like a yucky color. And the orange dye also is the only dye that I don't put vinegar in. So I don't know what's in it, but it's something magical. And one time I made a mistake and I put vinegar in it and it wouldn't work. So there is something magical about the orange dye because I figured, oh, what's the difference, you know?
How did it not work? Did it mix with the green?
It wouldn't even,
Or
it
wouldn't
wouldn't
stick
dye.
at all?
Yeah, it just,
But it'll dissolve the green dye.
it didn't even turn orange, nothing. It just wouldn't work at all. Yeah, it's like the vinegar.
It's like tang.
Yeah, just like totally like,
So at the end of this, the whole egg's gonna be black.
no. Well, mine will, because that's gonna be the last color I use. Okay, so I'm ready. So I had green out, but I'm not gonna use it, because it takes a long time to get the green to go off the egg. Once I go. Okay.
All right, the camera pointed away. We just,
I got it.
Okay, so orange again
Natural.
is for endurance or strength, or again, it can also stand for the sun, warmth, things like that. Wheat is very important because it gives us our flour and our bread. Again, if I use green, that would denote spring, obviously, green, spring, plants, all that kind of fun stuff. I don't know if there's, yeah.
What does the deer mean?
The deer are like symbols of strength. You could see a deer or rams, or sometimes, cows, all those like animals. Those are really the only, well, chicken or a bird is for fertility. So you would give that to somebody that was trying to have children. Okay.
So much symbolism.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize. I thought you just painted them.
Diane, who taught you this? Where'd you learn it?
My mom,
Yeah.
my aunts, and my grandma did, I could probably show you in one of the books. She would make these other ones with a pin on the end of a pencil, and she would dip it in the paraffin wax and make designs on the hard-boiled eggs, and then we would eat them.
Wow.
And I don't know how she did it, because the paraffin wax was white, and it was on a white egg, and then they were dyed, like, they were just gorgeous.
Huh.
So those little pin dots?
Yeah, and little, like, lines. Pretty sure it's just, in the other book. But yeah, it's, there's different styles depending on where you're from.
Yeah.
We were really cheated growing up with that crayon.
I know. It was kind of chintzy, now I. Jeez.
Yeah.
Really? I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay. So this shows, this was like the group of kind of like the ancestors, and they call it triphylian, okay? And it's like from the ancient people that were there, very much like Native American designs. And you'll find with like even a lot of the designs here, you can, they're cross-cultural, like some of these like stack things look like stuff you'd find like in South America, or Africa, or, they're all kind of like, we're all people, we all do the same stuff. But this purple one is what she would do on the hard-boiled eggs, and then she would dye them different colors. And they would have all these cool like designs, and she'd have spirals and all sorts of cool things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can pass that around.
Purple egg. Those are pretty.
And then they would get destroyed because you would eat.
Yeah, that was okay, because they were for Easter, and they aren't meant to be kept. And
Huh.
No, and you're also eating the, like, I'm sure she made it-
Symbolism.
Right, since
Yeah.
you said she was very young.
yeah. Okay.
Well, the orange looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out.
It's
the
kind of neat
magical
to
one.
see if I can
Yeah.
tell that there was like the light blue egg against the orange and stuff. That'd be pretty.
Yeah, it doesn't look like blue anymore, that's for sure.
Alright, so I'm gonna kind of just do the center kind of in a swirly, so I get maybe some of the, so it looks kind of like a pattern in there. Gotta heat that up a little bit. Once I do my background color. Okay.
How she touches it right away. You
I know.
It's amazing how fast it dries.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd dry so fast.
I know.
So then after the orange, you could do pink, you could do red.
Is red and pink the same color?
No, pink's almost like a hot pink, like a magenta kind of color.
Oh, okay.
It's this color.
Oh,
That's the pink.
Uh-huh.
So like if you were gonna use both, I would recommend to do pink first and then do red. And then there's a dark red, and there's a brown, that would all come after that.
You got Steelers egg going on.
Steelers egg whip.
Right there.
The one you're making.
When you're making with all the black.
It's
Oh,
black,
orange,
black.
isn't it? Yeah.
I know,
It's
but
not yellow.
it looks yellowish from back here.
Oh. I need to do something on my little wolf's teeth here though. Guess I'll have to do orange and red.
So is there a limit to how many colors you can use on one egg, or how many times you can dip it?
No, there's, I think they sell 17 to 20 different colors, yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Traditionally, though, you would have yellow, green, orange, red, purple, royal blue, and black. Those are the traditional colors. Then all the others have been added since.
So you can't use blue and yellow, just get green? Green's a separate layer?
You could, yeah. I have a light blue,
Oh,
so
okay.
you could dye it yellow and then put it in the light blue and you would get green.
Okay.
If you wanted yellow and light blue, you would dye it yellow and then put the wax on it, and then you would take it to the sink and wash the yellow off and then go into the light blue, so that you would get the light blue. That's why it's kind of like not traditional, because you're kind of cheating. And then there's also, if you want a white background, once you've dyed all your colors and you have all your wax on, you can bleach it, and then you'll get a white background back instead of waxing the whole egg.
So if you rinse, like say you do several layers of dye and you take it and put it in the sink, all that dye's gonna come off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. It might leave like a pastel color, but yeah, it pretty much washes off.
But not your hands.
Yeah, it comes off. It's better than the tie-dye dye.
yeah.
That'd stay on for a couple weeks. I didn't bring my cleaning solution though.
What is that?
Well, once you clean all the wax off, then I clean it with, goof off.
Ew,
Oh.
that's stinky.
To get the rest of the wax and the carbon and stuff off before I varnish them. I used to use energy, but you can't buy that anymore. That was dry cleaning solution, yeah.
Oh.
They deemed it like too toxic.
Huh. And yet, here we are.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, so you have to be careful, because some of them, like the one that's like the orange based Goo Gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like water based, and it'll take the dye off when you're trying to clean it. So you
Yeah, I
have
think
to.
that's citrus.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
get one that's not water-based, so that it just takes the wax and the carbon off and not the dye too. Okay, so I can go into red. All right, so we all know what red stands for, right?
Blood?
Yeah, you got it.
Ah. So who would you give that to?
The passion of Christ, the blood of Christ. Okay, animals, the blood for food and stuff, yeah, life, all that kind of good stuff with red. Yeah, of course, also love. Okay, so you could have hearts and all sort of passions, yeah. Triangles can be either the Trinity, or they can be like earth, water, fire, and heaven, earth, and air. There's like several different meanings for triangles.
A lot of triangles on there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those designs incorporate.
Uh-huh, yeah, triangles. And your everlasting life, and then your cross, which is obvious on that one. They also have windmills, which I don't think I have any on mine, which you would see them and you would say that's a swastika. But that's what, they took that symbol of the windmill or the swastika, and the Nazis turned it into something terrible, but it has been their symbol for like ever. Yeah, and it was like the four ends of the earth, and like it meant friendship and goodwill and stuff like that.
Oh.
They originated
The
in a
movie.
windmill?
Pardon?
Did you do this?
Well, it looks like a
We did it
windmill.
in
I never saw
Yeah.
I've always just thought it was a Nazi symbol.
No.
Nowadays, yeah.
Yeah.
I think India has that symbol as well, and it's
All the symbols and
but it's
things.
something completely different.
Yeah.
He brings that up in front of the swastika.
Rad.
Such a
Oh
pretty.
my goodness.
Wow was always my favorite dye.
Wow.
that's dark.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
it's just so rich and
Look at that.
exciting.
Getting towards the end here.
Did you hold it up for just a second? Look, where are you?
That's pretty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Oh, that is so beautiful.
you always make sure that you dry it good so that the wax sticks on your egg. If you leave it a little damp, then the wax will peel off.
That's it. And we were talking about, when we were talking about the swastika, I said there was a Tom Hanks movie where he mentioned the origination of that symbol. And I couldn't think of the movie name, so. There you go, you got a point.
A point.
This one.
Trivia night.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing the rest of my little wolf's teeth here. And again, they are all little triangle shapes too, which again tie in. And the egg also fits in well with Easter and being like a rebirth and a rejuvenation of the soul and all that kind of good stuff. So it tied in well when Christianity came to that region.
It'd be like a meditation thing.
Mhm.
The only thing is that after looking at the candle all night, I'll see like the,
Burns into your.
uh-huh.
Oh, right.
I think I need a glass of wine with this.
And then making straight, drawing straight lines.
I'd be really good at that.
You didn't end up dunking your egg in it by accident.
Yeah, would the wine dye the egg? Could that be one of the layers?
There you go.
Egg, cheese, and wine, right? There you go.
Look at it, it has some of the other symbolism on there. One symbol that's kind of interesting is that sometimes you'll see little insect type symbols, which are actually little spiders, because the spider is good luck. And every Ukrainian home will have a spider in it.
I think put them on the Christmas trees.
Yeah. Oh, I have lots of spiders in my house. Lots of spiders.
No.
Spiders are good.
We had some craft.
Yeah, that did
One year at
spiders.
the art center, she sold a ton of them. She
Mhm.
made these pretty spiders. They were about this big, in little gift boxes for the Christmas tree. And that's what she said, they were good luck for.
What were they made out of?
They were like beads.
Oh.
Yeah, they were
faceted
really pretty.
beads. I
Yeah.
bought one.
Huh.
Yeah, and they were specifically like different species, like some had longer legs and had different bodies, and she like knew which spider was which.
They were correct.
Yes, but they were meant to be on your tree as good luck.
Oh, I did not know that. Huh.
Guess you're not gonna have good luck, Doug.
Obviously not Ukrainian.
Matter of fact, I'm Irish and happy St. Patty's Day.
Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
You're 100% Irish.
Scotch.
Scotch.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now I'll just do that much red, okay. So after red, you would have a choice of like going into like dark red or brown, royal blue. This is royal blue, it's like a really deep, it's a good background color. I'm gonna go into black.
Ooh. What's that gonna do with the red now?
It'll be all right.
It's
It'll be all right. She should save the red spots that she wanted.
Yeah, I thought wax were.
She's working on background.
She's getting rid of a lot of.
She's a professional.
All will be revealed soon.
The interesting thing about black is that it is the time, the darkest time, when the souls are traveling and trying to find their final resting place. So a lot of the eggs are dyed with a black background as they're searching for their place, hopefully heaven, not the other place.
Right.
Yeah.
Down to the purgatory thing.
Yeah, we do. But
Okay.
I didn't, I was hoping nobody would end up there.
Diane, do you ever double the dye amount in your black or anything? No, you just do all of them with the single dye pack?
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, maybe I should, because it usually takes a lot longer for the black to work.
What if you just go with in the ink?
Huh.
Interesting.
It's getting there. Yeah, really.
It's getting there.
I can't wait to see this one come on.
Oh, yeah.
So when you do this in a workshop, how long is your workshop?
3 hours.
Oh.
But they make a bunch of eggs.
2 to 3. The first one we do together, and it's like that one I passed around. So they, you know, we go through how to divide it up. And then, you know, I show them different, they can do either or sometimes like people, they'll kind of like do their own. And then, because I want them to go through the dye process so they understand. I don't want somebody going green and then thinking they can go back to yellow, and then I don't have yellow dye anymore. And then once they do the first egg, then they can go on and they can look through the books and keep it more traditional, or they can, you know, do their own designs and stuff like that, so, yeah. But they usually get 2 or 3 eggs.
They came out really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I creep on her classes all the time.
She doesn't creep on yours.
No, rarely.
I'm just not a fighter.
Unless I'm, well, sometimes I'm there Wednesday nights. Sometimes I take your class, so.
Yes, she does.
Oh.
We're the misfits. We sit on the other side.
I've taken her pottery, but then she spent 6 weeks telling me, it's only clay.
Stop stressing.
Yeah. Okay, this is black enough.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's like the 1,000-year-old Chinese egg.
Okay, so once you've dyed it in the background color, then you're ready to start taking all the wax off. And I just freeze these. So you want to stay beside the flame, you don't want to get on top, because that's where the heat is and the carbon, and it'll burn your egg and it'll burn your fingers. And burnt egg is nasty smelling. So what I do is I just kind of hold it next to the flame, and you'll see it's getting liquidy. See a little bit starting to get shiny glossy, yeah, and then that wipes off, and then I'll do another little section.
Oh, wow.
This is very exciting. This is my favorite.
This is
It's like the
This
the
got me out of the
baby
house.
reveal or something.
Yeah.
You know how rare that is.
The big reveal.
Look at that.
Wow. It's a place on fire.
They let you do this in kids' classes?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I taught in Catholic school.
They don't care.
Hey, I just kept my door closed, they left me alone.
Yep.
I just taught art, they didn't care about art.
Oh,
It's me, reading and math, that was the important things.
we never had art in our school, Catholic school.
Me neither.
How did you get art?
Yeah, right.
No, she's taught art.
I know.
Yeah, I had a
teacher
kiln.
in Catholic school.
They all did clay, K through 8. Yeah, we did.
You were here in Pennsylvania?
In North Hills, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It's different from when we were in school.
yeah.
No, not, there's a bunch in Pittsburgh that don't have art.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got art. Huh.
Yeah, I probably, well, I spent a lot of money every year for supplies. Yeah, we did everything. We did all sorts of painting, weaving, drawing, pottery,
Wrong
sculpture.
Catholic school.
Apparently.
Where did you teach in North Hills?
St. Sebastian and St. Ursula, which are now Holy Cross and Blessed Trinity.
Yeah, they changed all their names.
Yeah. Yeah, I retired right before COVID
Oh.
from teaching in the schools.
Good timing.
Yes, that was very good timing.
Wow.
Because I would not have wanted to, well, that, they actually never, they stayed in school, so.
They never closed?
Leah, your school didn't close, right?
Well, in 2020, everybody closed.
Well, yeah, but after that.
Oh, yeah, after that, we were back.
You've been back, yeah.
I think they did the briefly when we had the red.
That spring.
Yeah, but then otherwise they were always in session. With masks and stuff, because you know, Catholic school, there was like, you wear a mask. There's like no discussion.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
That looks really pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty. Not one of my best, but
So pretty.
we have time constraint.
I'm surprised how clear it, like it really does just wipe off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the varnish obviously like brightens the colors too and stuff
Oh, yeah.
when you get that on. I was kind of curious to see what the pale blue egg would look like though, because I had never done
Are you seeing any blue tint?
everything kind of looks white to me right now.
Diane, was that like an actual blue egg from a certain chicken?
That
Yeah.
Easter eggers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do you get your girly girl eggs from Chanel?
No, I get them from Dave's Meats up Route 8, just into Butler. But then soon Harvest Valley will open and I'll get their eggs.
It's like a whole nother world up in Gibson.
Oh, it is. That is true. We are just our own little world up there.
You have like a whole different set of places to shop.
Everything, yeah. We don't have much, just our little bit of stuff up there. Because heaven forbid we would go over to Cranberry.
Oh, you don't cross the line.
We're not crazy. It's like crazy over there.
Oh.
It's just too congested for us little folk
Yeah.
in Gibson, you know. Route 8's too much for us.
Yeah. Oh, that's too much for anybody. Oh. That's one place I haven't been yet, is that Cranberry that everybody goes to, Debbie.
You never go to Cranberry?
I've never been up that one.
Really?
No. I'm gonna go.
Go with the pack of lunch.
I'm gonna go. I will pick 'em up. No.
So where do you shop, Robinson?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have everything here. You
If
got
you- If you could survive Robinson.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah.
I mean, Cranberry's not.
Well, I can do Robinson in my high school.
See,
I just
that's-
had to pass
that's like-
Robinson coming here tonight.
That's like frightening.
How do you deal with the
Oh.
traffic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I can get to is my daughter's Starbucks in Robinson, that's it. Okay, almost done.
Is there a big group of artists that do this in Pittsburgh that you belong to? Pysanka artists?
I know they do it in Carnegie through the Orthodox churches there. Um,
They have a nice display at the public library in Carnegie of the Pysanka eggs. Yeah, because there's a pretty big Ukrainian population there. I went to
Yeah.
the egg festival there once. One of my students does. Well, she did this.
They have an egg festival?
It's like, I guess like at this time of year.
Yeah.
She like invited me to her church and.
Yeah, they would be doing them now. Well, they're beside each other. There's the Ukrainian Orthodox Church and then there's the Ukrainian Catholic Church. And they're beside each other there, like on the main drag.
Oh,
So they would both be doing, they'd probably compete. So that's, yeah.
Big competition.
Yeah, really.
And I think they, have fundraisers and sell them but I'm like way out in Gibsonia, so.
Yeah, I just heard today the Ukrainian church isn't taking any more donations, they're just.
Flooded, oh.
Yeah.
So that is basically how you would make them.
You just wipe them off.
And then using the cleaning solution just to get any other little bits that you miss and any carbon that would come off from the candle. And then put the varnish on and
It wasn't even that messy.
No.
I thought it was gonna be like, a lot messier.
I mean, your hands get a little dyed, but it washes off pretty easily, this stuff.
Would you mind if I mat and framed your paper towel?
Yeah.
They do get, they're just halves.
You didn't even use that many paper towels.
No.
So that's
It is so pretty. That's a spring one, not so much a church one.
right.
That's the
for
flowers.
spray.
See, now we know.
Yeah.
We know the difference. The spring one.
I don't know what one's used for that.
Forgot to pass this one.
Oh, thanks.
Pass it on to someone else.
Take one of these and put it down here so I can see what this is. Oh, yeah. This little tool thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I get my supplies from the Ukrainian gift shop in, it's in Roseville, Minnesota, because there's also a really big Ukrainian population up there. And they sell like the kits and all the dyes and wax and the books and other stuff. Like cookbooks and puzzles and clothing and just about anything you would, like stands for the eggs, because I have like stands.
Do people collect them and have like whole big displays of all different designs? I could see people really getting into that.
And some of this, like, some of the stands I have like hold candles so that you could have it like on your table.
Oh, okay.
And then when I do it at Christmas, I put the hold on the other side so you can make it like an ornament for your tree if you wanted. And then I've seen them at Easter, you could do an Easter tree. And you could hang the eggs like that, so.
Nice. That was very cool.
That's great. Thank you.
Nice job. That's interesting.
Once again, you made it look easy.
Yet another thing that Diane makes look easy.
I know.
come and you can look at these if you want to. Kind of spread them out. This is like
Wow.
I like leaves, so that's kind of more contemporary one. That would just be because I like leaves. I have one at home that's got an owl and a turtle.
Oh my gosh.
And little sheep on a field. So,
Beautiful.
You could never paint the diamond with a brush, right? You always have to dip them.
I have, like say you just had a little tiny spot of, say, green that you needed, and you didn't really want to have to dye the whole egg green, because then you have to do the whole orange thing to get the green off and everything. You could just take a brush and put green where you want it, and then put wax, and then go to your next color. I've done that with black, because obviously black is the last color, but say I have some with pussy willows. So you want the stem and the little capsule things of the pussy willow to be black, so I'll paint those first with a brush and then do the wax.
Oh, okay.
And then I can do the white of the pussy willow and stuff, and then not have to worry about, you know, because then I've got the black hidden at the start. So yeah, there's little tricks like that that you can kind of,
You have to really think ahead.
yeah.
Plan it.
Because
Yeah.
of the batiking, yeah, and the sequence of the dyes.
Nice job. Nice job.
There's so much in this group.
I know it.
It's like so many things I knew I didn't know how to do.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking about that wool lady and the stained glass lady.
Well, she was here because Keely was here and she did stained glass.
Oh,
Yeah.
Then we had
Wow.
felting demonstration. You taught that too.
The felted bowls, yeah.
Yeah.
We did the bowls
Diane can
the
do
other
that too.
weekend.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Oh, wow. That was amazing.
That's like very labor intensive though.
That is.
Yeah, they were in for a shock on that one.